In example 3, we're going to talk about some terminology you need for the semester. The first word being coefficient. A coefficient means in a term that is the product means multiplication, of a number and a variable, the number is the coefficient. For example, if we have 3x, the 3 here is the coefficient. If we have 4x times y to the second, the 4 is the coefficient. It's always the number that is in front of those variables when it's being multiplied. Your second definition is like terms. Like terms, the definition for that are terms in an expression that have the same variable raised to the same power. So an example of a group of like terms would be something like x, 4x, 5x, 1/2 x. All of these terms have the same variable. They all have an x, and all those x's are being raised to the first power, which is a 1. Another example that we can use would be something like 3x to the second, negative 7x to the second, and maybe something like 0.5x to the second. These are all like terms because they all have the same variable, x's, and they're all raised to the same exponent. They're all raised to the power of 2. My next definition are constant terms, and constant terms are terms with no variable factors. So for instance, a constant term would be something like the number 5, the number 10, the number 10.5, the number 1/2, anything that doesn't have a variable with it is called a constant. In our directions down here for our first example, it says use the expression 9x squared minus 8w plus 10x squared plus 4x minus 5w plus 12 to answer the following questions. The first question says, what is the coefficient of the x term? So if we're talking about the coefficient, we're looking for the number in front of the x term. Well, if we look in our expression here, the only term that has an x, just an x, is right here. We need to take into account the sign and the number. So it's a positive 4. So our answer here would be 4. In letter B, we want to know what is the constant. That means we're looking for the number with no variable attached. So as we look through our expression, the number with no variable attached is the last one. Again, take into account the sign and the number, which is 12. So our constant term here would be 12. And our last one asks, what are the like terms in the expression? We are looking for anything that has the same variable with the same exponent. So if we look and see, we have 9x squared and 10x squared. Those would be one pair of like terms. So we can say 9x squared and 10x squared. And then my other group of like terms, if I go through, I have a negative 8w, don't forget it's a negative, and a negative 5w. So I can say negative 8w and negative 5w.